So one of the things you'll do when bringing people onto your project is have consultations. You might have a designer or an engineer come in to help you understand what would be part of your minimum viable product and what might need to go in a version 2 or version 3. To do that, we've brought in James and Carl. Now guys, we have this app here. This is a prototype built out in InVision, and the idea is that it's essentially a to-do list or calendar app. And I want to understand sort of what we would go about making first, if we wanted to make a version 0 of this. So as you can see, we've got these sort of welcome screens, this sort of home screen, and then as we go on, we've got a bunch of extra features that I thought were really cool that we added on. We've got, you can view your tasks by the month or by the week. You can see an overview of what tasks you've completed over time, what proportion of tasks you've completed over time. You can also see tasks grouped up in certain ways, so all the tasks about cars or all the recipes you've wanted to make. And then you've also got sort of a profile and a timeline of things that you've done, and then sort of general settings screens and a menu. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. Sure.
So I'm really excited about getting this built. First off, James, as a designer, what are the things that you would like to focus on in making this a better app right now?
Color. I would probably change this color palette, and then I really like this overview screen. Like, this graphic is really cool, but I'd probably pull some colors from the images, like maybe from your title bar, and use the palette library for Android to make it kind of more interesting. Okay. And I really like this group setting, and like that's another place where I might change up the colors. I might use more interesting typography to make it more impactful of like how many items I have in this automotive area or books or whatever, because that's not that readable.
Mm-hmm. That makes sense. And Carl, how does that sound to you? Do you think that would be a reasonable set of things to start working on as our V1?
Well, there's a lot here in this InVision prototype. I think that we should probably talk about some of the core elements before progressing into building absolutely every screen. We want to probably talk about just the most interesting interaction elements. So for instance, I have to question whether or not we really need high fidelity graphs at this point, right? We're talking about building a to-do app. Right. So let's focus on the core elements of managing to-dos.
Okay, so if I'm understanding you correctly, we want to at least have, as our first bit, building out, making a to-do, checking off a to-do, things like that.
Yeah, that's right.
And do you think that it's worthwhile for us to build out those small features? This stuff is really cool, and we wanted to include that in the app in the end.
Ultimately, we can make the app as big and featureful and fancy as you want. The thing that we have to do, though, is express the core elements first, the core functionality. What are users actually doing with this app? And in this case, they're managing their to-dos. They're managing a little bit of their life. So we have to make that easy. We have to bring that to the forefront. There's a lot of extraneous views here that maybe don't support that core workflow. And so I think it would be best for us to focus on the core elements going forward.
Okay. Now, James, with what Carl just said, that we want to focus on the core elements, what would we be able to work on, what would we be able to use your time on to make these core elements a little bit better? Right now, that core element, if I'm understanding it right, we would want to have this screen where we have these to-dos and be able to check them off. We would want sort of our screen of actually making a to-do. And then we'd want something like, I don't know, a calendar or something to help manage their life.
Okay, so if we're focusing on those three screens, starting with this general overview to-do screen, I would focus on the transitions between that screen and the creating a to-do, just to make it more instructive and make more intuitive for the user. For this calendar, probably a similar type thing, and just focus more in making it glanceable and more easy to read for this is the to-do I have, this is what I need to do at this moment or for this day.
So even if we're just building a small feature set, there's still stuff for you as a designer to work on?
Oh, definitely.
Okay. So, we've been talking about this small feature set, and I'm not sure if this is actually a set that I have the ability to pay you guys for yet. I have a relatively small budget for this, and I want to make sure that we can get this done within that budget.
Well, I think we should adopt a philosophy of launch and iterate here. That'll give us the agility to move where our users are going with our software, and allow us to really focus on min viability first.
Okay, so I think we probably have enough to pay you guys to make this initial minimum viable product really good, really beautiful, and actually functional. And then from there, we can use the rest of my budget as the users dictate.
I think that's a great idea.
Perfect. So that's how a consultation session might go. You'll have some concerns from either side, and you'll have to balance them. And at the end, you'll hopefully have a sense of what is the minimum viable product you'll be building. As you go through this, you'll have multiple consultation sessions at each release of the app, and it might be valuable for you to bring these concerns in at every step of the process.